Fear was your first teacher. Before you knew your own name, before you could even walk, fear was there shaping you, molding you, telling you what was dangerous and what was safe. That cry when the doctor held you up for the first time? That wasn't joy. It was terror. Because the world is unfamiliar, and the unfamiliar has always been the enemy of survival. But here's the truth. What was once necessary for survival is now the chain around your neck. Fear is no longer protecting you, it's suffocating you. It's why you hesitate to speak up. It's why you stay silent when you should fight. It's why your dreams sit rotting in the attic of your mind while you scroll through your phone, watching other people live them instead. Fear is not just an emotion, it is a program. And unless you reprogram it, unless you deliberately engineer courage, you will live and die as a servant to it. Marcus Aurelius once said, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." Think about that. The Emperor of Rome, the most powerful man in the known world, understood that fear wasn't conquered by armies or wealth, but by will. He feared only the wasted life, the life that bows to hesitation. You see, society doesn't reward the fearful. It rewards those who act despite fear. Look at history. The generals, the inventors, the revolutionaries. Every single one of them was afraid, but they acted anyway. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to walk straight into it and claim authority over it. Here's the uncomfortable reality. Courage isn't something you're born with. It's something you build, like muscle. And just like muscle, if you don't train it, it atrophies. If you don't deliberately push yourself into discomfort, into risk, into the fire, you will always default to fear. And fear will always win. Comment this now. I engineer my courage. Write it. Declare it. Anchor it in your mind. Because in the next part, we're going to break down exactly how you take that raw, paralyzing fear and turn it into fuel. If this hit you so far, if it woke something up inside you, hit the like button right now and subscribe. Because what comes next is going to be the blueprint for becoming unstoppable. Let's go deeper. Why does fear dominate you? Because your brain is ancient. You're walking around in the modern world with Stone Age wiring. Your nervous system doesn't care about your dreams, your ambitions, or your potential. It cares about one thing keeping you alive. And to the brain, the unfamiliar equals danger. That's why starting a business feels terrifying. That's why speaking in front of people feels like death. That's why telling the truth when it could cost you is so hard. Your biology is whispering, stay safe, stay small, stay quiet. But here's the paradox. Everything you want in life, everything lives on the other side of that whisper. Every breakthrough demands a sacrifice of comfort. Nietzsche once said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow." Your why gives you strength, but fear will still be there, testing you. If you wait for it to disappear, you'll wait forever. Fear isn't a sign you shouldn't act. It's a compass pointing exactly where you need to go. If something terrifies you, it usually means that's where the growth is hiding. And that's why courage must be engineered. It's not natural. It's not automatic. It's forged deliberately in the fire of repeated confrontation. Step 1. Reframe fear as fuel. Most people interpret fear as a stop sign. I'm scared, so I shouldn't do it. Wrong. That's the wrong translation. Fear is not a red light, it's a green one. It's telling you, this matters. It's telling you, this is real. It's telling you, here lies transformation. Carl Jung wrote, "Where your fear is, there is your task." That's not poetry, it's instruction. The thing you're afraid of most is exactly the thing that will free you if you confront it. Let's get practical. Next time fear shows up, don't back down. Instead, pause and say, "Good. This means I'm on the edge of something important." Fear is energy. Courage is the act of redirecting that energy into forward motion. You don't eliminate fear, you ride it, like a wave, like fire under your feet. Comment this now. Fear is my compass. Etch it into your mind, and listen if this truth resonates. If it's waking you up, then subscribe and turn on notifications right now. Because in the next section, I'm going to expose the second step. How to condition your nervous system to stop flinching at fear, and instead, treat it like the signal to attack. That's where real courage is born. Step 2. Condition your nervous system. Fear is not destroyed by thinking, it's destroyed by doing. You can't out-intellectualize fear, because fear doesn't live in the rational part of your brain. It lives in your body, in your heartbeat, in your lungs, in your trembling hands. That's why philosophy alone isn't enough. You need exposure. You need training. Think of a blacksmith. Steel is forged in fire and shaped by repeated strikes. The same is true of courage. You don't just decide to be brave one day and suddenly feel invincible. You have to expose yourself again and again to the things that trigger you. Each repetition carves strength into your nervous system. The Stoics understood this. Seneca practiced what he called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. He would deliberately imagine worst-case scenarios, not to paralyze himself, but to desensitize himself. He knew that courage is built not by running from discomfort, but by rehearsing it, confronting it, and mastering it. Here's the principle. Start small, then escalate. You don't overcome fear of public speaking by throwing yourself in front of 0 people. You start with 1 person, then 5, then 20. You don't build courage in the gym of life by maxing out on the first day. You start with weight you can handle, then increase it until it breaks you, then rebuild stronger. Action desensitizes fear. Avoidance strengthens it. Every time you back down, you reinforce the chain. Every time you push through, even in small doses, you loosen it. Arthur Schopenhauer once said, "A man can do what he wills, but he cannot will what he wills." In other words, you don't choose the emotion of fear. It comes uninvited. But you choose what you do with it. You choose the exposure. You choose the training. That is your sovereignty. So here's a challenge. Pick one thing you've been avoiding because of fear. Doesn't matter if it's a phone call, a conversation, or a risk you've been delaying. Do it today. Not tomorrow, today. Your nervous system learns not from your intentions, but from your actions. Comment this now. I train my courage daily. Make it a mantra, because if you don't, fear becomes your trainer, and it trains you into weakness. And listen carefully if you're still with me right now. You're not like most people. Most clicked away. Most couldn't handle this truth. But you're still here, and that means you're hungry for the next step. So subscribe, because in the next section, we'll tackle Step 3, how to command your inner dialogue so fear no longer whispers lies into your mind. Step 3. Command your inner dialogue. Fear doesn't just live in your body, it hijacks your mind. It speaks in whispers. You're not ready. You'll embarrass yourself. You're not strong enough. These are not facts. They're intrusions. They're echoes of your biology trying to keep you small. But here's the thing, your thoughts are not you. They're signals. They're noise. And if you don't take control of them, they will take control of you. Courage is not only about what you do externally, it's about how you govern your internal empire. Machiavelli once said, "He who controls others may be powerful, but he who has mastered himself is mightier still." Understand this. Your inner dialogue is the throne of your kingdom. If you surrender it to fear, you'll never rule yourself, and therefore, never rule anything else. So how do you fight back? With command phrases, psychological weapons. When fear enters your mind with its lies, you need a counterstrike. Example, fear says, "I can't." You respond, "I must." Fear says, "This is too big." You respond, "That's why it's mine." Fear says, "What if I fail?" You respond, "Then I'll rise again stronger." You reprogram your nervous system by reprogramming your language. Words are spells. If you speak weakness, you live weakness. If you speak strength, you become strength. Voltaire once wrote, "Man is free at the instant he wants to be. Freedom is not handed to you. It's spoken into existence through will. You decide when you're free from the whispers of fear. You decide when you stop listening." Here's the practical step. Write down your fear triggers, the moments, situations, or thoughts that paralyze you. For each one, write a command phrase that destroys it. Then drill it until it becomes instinct, until when fear whispers, your automatic response is authority. Comment this now. I command my inner world. Burn it into your psyche. Because the man who masters his inner dialogue becomes immune to manipulation by others and by fear itself. And if this is clicking with you, if this is rewiring something in you right now, then smash that like button and subscribe. Because the next step is the one that most people never reach. Step 4. It's not about surviving fear. It's about weaponizing it. That's the turning point where fear stops being an obstacle and starts being your ally. That's where warriors are made. Step 4. Weaponize fear. Most people spend their lives trying to erase fear. They pray for it to vanish. They wait for the day they finally stop being scared. That day never comes because fear is part of you. It's wired into your survival system. You can't kill it. You can only convert it. Think about fire. Left uncontrolled, it burns down your house. Harnessed, it powers cities. Fear is the same. Left unchallenged, it paralyzes you. Harnessed, it becomes adrenaline. It becomes clarity. It becomes a weapon. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Fear is the impediment, which means fear is also the way. When you learn to use it, your enemies lose their leverage, because nothing can intimidate the man who converts intimidation into momentum. Here's how you weaponize it. Channel the physiology. Fear elevates your heart rate, sharpens your senses, floods you with energy. Most people interpret that as panic. You must reinterpret it as readiness. Your body isn't betraying you, it's preparing you. Say to yourself, this isn't fear. This is power. Anchor it to your mission. Every time fear shows up, remind yourself, this means I'm aligned with something bigger than comfort. Use it as proof that you're on the right path. Fear isn't evidence you're failing, it's evidence you're doing something that matters. Turn it against your enemies. The man who can stay calm in the storm, who can move forward while others freeze, becomes unstoppable. In competition, in battle, in life, the fearless don't win. The ones who use fear as fuel do, Carl Jung said. No tree, it is said, can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell. What does that mean? It means you cannot rise without facing your own darkness. Fear is that darkness. If you refuse to confront it, your growth is stunted. If you embrace it, you become unshakable. So the next time fear grips you, don't fight it. Don't run from it. Redirect it. Channel it into your voice, your actions, your decisions. Let it sharpen you like steel. Comment this now. Fear is my weapon. Write it. Own it. Because that shift in identity is what separates the weak from the relentless. And if this is blowing your mind, if this is making you realize you've been sitting on a mountain of untapped power, then subscribe now. Because in the next step, we're going to go even deeper. Step 5. How to engineer daily rituals that hardwire courage into your identity. That's where transformation becomes permanent. Step 5. Engineer daily rituals of courage. Here's the reality. Courage isn't built in a single moment of glory. It's not one speech, one battle, one victory. Courage is engineered brick by brick in the boring daily rituals that most people overlook. People want transformation, but they ignore the repetition that forges it. You don't become courageous by accident. You become courageous by conditioning. Just like you don't walk into a gym once and call yourself strong. You show up, rep after rep, until your muscles have no choice but to grow. Courage is no different. So, what rituals create courage? 3 categories. Discomfort training. Every single day, deliberately step into something uncomfortable. Cold showers. Difficult conversations. Early mornings. The content doesn't matter, the principle does. By rehearsing discomfort, you normalize it. Fear loses its grip when your nervous system learns, I can survive this. Micro risks. You don't need to gamble everything at once. Start small. Speak up in a meeting. Share your idea. Approach the person you've been avoiding. Each micro risk compounds. Each small victory hardwires your brain. I act despite fear. Reflection. Reprogramming. Courage isn't only about doing, it's about reviewing. At the end of the day, ask yourself, where did I lean into fear? Where did I avoid it? Write it down. When you catch yourself avoiding, don't hide from it, confront it. Accountability is the forge of courage. Marcus Aurelius filled entire journals reflecting on his inner battles. Not for public display, but for himself. That's how he stayed sharp. He engineered his courage with daily examination. If the Emperor of Rome needed that, so do you. Nietzsche once said, "He who cannot obey himself will be commanded." Think about that. If you can't command yourself into daily rituals, fear will command you. Discipline is freedom. Ritual is liberation. So here's your action. Starting tomorrow, build one ritual of discomfort into your day. Don't overthink it. Just pick one thing that scares you and do it. Then repeat, layer it, multiply it. Soon, fear will become your familiar companion, and courage will become your identity. Comment this now. Discipline builds my courage. Seal it. Because without daily structure, all the theory in the world collapses. And if you're still here, you're not just consuming content, you're transforming. So subscribe now, because in the next step, I'll show you step 6, how to anchor courage to your identity so deeply that fear no longer has a vote in your life. That's when courage stops being something you do and becomes who you are. Step 6. Anchor courage into your identity. Here's the brutal truth. Habits can be broken. Routines can be disrupted. Motivation can vanish. But identity? Identity is harder to shake. That's why the highest level of courage isn't just action, it's embodiment. You must become the kind of person for whom courage is not optional, but natural. Think about it. When someone identifies as a runner, they don't debate whether or not to run. It's who they are. When someone identifies as a leader, they don't wait for permission to step up. They lead because it's ingrained. In the same way, when you anchor courage to your identity, fear loses its leverage. Carl Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." And who you truly are is not a slave to fear. You weren't built to cower, you were built to rise. But you can only embody that truth by consciously declaring it, reinforcing it, and living it. until it fuses with your sense of self. Here's the principle. Shift from "I do courageous things" to "I am courageous." That shift changes everything, because your actions now flow from identity, not negotiation. When fear whispers, you don't ask, "Should I act?" You answer, "I act because that's who I am." Practical exercise. Write this identity statement and repeat it daily. I am a person who acts despite fear. Surround yourself with symbols of courage, books, quotes, reminders that reinforce this identity. Speak it publicly. Tell people, "I am building courage." The more you declare it, the more it solidifies. Arthur Schopenhauer wrote, "Man is nothing else but what he makes of himself." You're not born with courage. You become courageous by deciding every single day to embody it. And here's the deeper truth. When courage becomes your identity, you don't just free yourself, you give permission to everyone around you. People follow the brave, they mirror the strong. Your identity ripples outward. Comment this now. Courage is who I am. Declare it in writing and let the act of declaration reinforce the shift. And if you're locked in with me right now, if you feel this truth burning inside you, then subscribe and stay tuned. Because in the next step, Step 7, we're going to close the loop, how to face the ultimate test of courage, the unknown, and not only survive it, but thrive in it. Step 7, face the unknown. All fear ultimately boils down to this, the unknown. You're not afraid of the dark itself, you're afraid of what might be in it. You're not afraid of failure itself. You're afraid of what you don't know will happen if you fail. The unknown is the root of all hesitation. And here's the paradox. The unknown is also where all greatness lives. Every dream, every victory, every breakthrough you seek is hidden inside the unknown. Which means if you want to live fully, you must not just face it, you must learn to thrive in it. Marcus Aurelius said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." The unknown is never the problem. It's the story you attach to it. You project monsters into the dark, but in truth, the unknown is just possibility wearing a mask. Here's the principle. Lean into uncertainty until it becomes home. The entrepreneur who succeeds is not the one who has all the answers, it's the one who has the courage to act without them. The warrior who survives battle is not the one who knows every outcome, it's the one who can adapt when the unexpected arrives. The philosopher who transforms minds is not the one with certainty, but the one with courage to ask questions that have no guarantees. Practical application. Step into uncertainty daily. Choose the path where you don't know the outcome. Say yes to opportunities that scare you. Detach from control. Understand this control is an illusion. The only thing you truly control is yourself. When you accept this, fear loses its grip. Transform uncertainty into excitement. Tell yourself, if I don't know what's coming, then it could be extraordinary. The same energy that fuels dread can fuel wonder if you redirect it. Nietzsche wrote, "One must still have chaos in oneself to be able to give birth to a dancing star." Chaos is uncertainty, the unknown. Without it, you remain ordinary. With it, you create something divine. So instead of fearing the unknown, embrace it, hunt it, seek it out. Because it is the forge where courage is tested, refined, and proven real. Comment this now. I thrive in the unknown. Say it with conviction. Because once you make the unknown your ally, you become untouchable. And if this message is cutting through to you, if you're realizing you were born afraid but you don't have to live afraid, then subscribe now. Because we're about to close this journey. In the final part, I'll bring everything together so you leave, not just inspired, but armed with a philosophy of courage you can live by every day. That's the final frontier. You were born afraid, but you don't have to stay that way. Fear was your first language, your first instinct, your first master. But now you know the truth. Courage isn't given. It isn't inherited. It's engineered. Built through reframing fear as fuel, conditioning your nervous system through exposure, mastering your inner dialogue, weaponizing fear into power, building daily rituals, anchoring courage into your identity, and finally thriving in the unknown. This is the blueprint. This is the path. But understand this, knowledge without action is cowardice dressed in philosophy. You can nod your head, you can comment, you can agree, but unless you do, nothing changes. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." Stop debating. Stop waiting. Stop hiding. The time for courage is now. Fear will never leave you. It will be there tomorrow, whispering in your ear. But now you have the tools. You can meet it. You can look it in the eyes and say, "You are not my enemy. You are my weapon. You are my path." Understand this, most people will never reach this point. They'll live and die afraid, prisoners of their biology, slaves to hesitation. But you've seen the truth, and that truth demands action. So comment this right now. I choose courage. Etch it into your mind and body. Make it a declaration. Because the moment you say it and live it, you are no longer ordinary. You are no longer waiting. You are alive. If this message hit you like a hammer, if it shook something awake inside you, then subscribe right now and hit that like button. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Because courage is contagious, and by spreading it, you become part of a movement that refuses to bow to fear. This is your call to arms. Engineer your courage. Build it. Live it. Become it. Because you were born afraid, but you were born to transcend it.